And so, good afternoon, everyone. I am Evadyne. You're listening to EvadyneS Company, Talk Worth Listening to. And we are on the Grown Folk Talking Podcast Network Mondays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. You can actually call in to 520-525-8633. Get the entire show lineup. There are a variety of shows, different subject matters, different times, and we're just here to engage. Evadyne with Company, they try to bring talk worth listening to, talk to stimulate your thinking, your ideas, um, in a way that, well, I'll say stimulate, but maybe reactivate some ideas. We talk about life. We talk about so many different actions that you can take, that you should take um, daily. Your choices, how you make them, why you make them. And this, let me see, today is Monday, May 13th, and we celebrated a Mother's Day holiday yesterday. And I just want to share with you the privilege that I had of spending this day. Oh my goodness. Well, let me say this. I was spending this day waiting to eat, waiting to eat because my sister Veronica and um, Mousy, well, that's not her real name, but the Taylor family and the Smith family decided to come together and host a fine dining event for Mother's Day. And it brought together family and friends and family friends. You know, you have those friends who you call family, you've been together ever so long. And it joined everyone in the same room, young and older, young and older. The conversation was great. The atmosphere was beautiful. Here in Brooklyn, a caterer came out on his business, 1111. My sister Veronica attended a introduction tasting at his event space about 3 months ago. It was over $100 to attend, but if you went out to eat, the cuisine that he shared on that day would cost you well over I'm going to say $300 per person. The quality of food, the quantity of choices, such an array, and I missed it. And I told him I will not miss the next one. Just let me know, put me on the list. Not realizing that the next one I would hear about was what my sister and his grandmother put together to to honor women, to honor moms, and really to honor everyone involved because my sister told the story of how when she first met Kamel, he is a friend of her son, and he was in her home with her son, and she said to him, "What's your name, and where do you come from?" So he responded. She said, "So what do you do? Are you in school? Are you working? You know, what do you do?" He was in school. She said, "Because to hang out with her son, you had to be doing what they were doing. You had to be on your way into your future." So she asked him, "So what do you plan to do when you grow up?" And his response was, "I am a chef, and I'm going to be." I don't want to be. Not that's my plan. I am a chef. And at the time, yes, he was in school. And I think they were still either in junior high school or they were in high school. But he was studying culinary. He was firm on who he was, is, and plans to be. And when I tell you, this gentleman can make franks and beans a delicacy. You will never look at that dog again, and you will never look at that bean again in the same way when he is finished. It was a beautiful event, beautiful, and not just the food, but again, the conversation, to bringing together families that grew up together. And even in the families, we didn't know, like, the cousins who were there because we knew the cousins that we were around, but it was grand. It was beautiful. And one of the cousins, the aunt, was newly inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame as a boxing judge. She's a boxing judge on her way to Saudi Arabia next week. So I am actually going to have her on as a guest, and that show is going to be titled Living Your Passion and Purpose. And so if you know anyone other than yourself who is living their passion and purpose, one or the other, let me know. And they can be a guest as well. They can definitely come on, listen in, and engage in the talk. Let me know. You can call me at 347 649 7741 24/7. You can leave a question, leave a comment, definitely refer the person or tell us about them. Tell us about you. Give us a show idea. 24 hours a day. And if you go to my YouTube, which is like, share, subscribe, ring, like, share, subscribe, ring, then you can comment on YouTube, or if you have a deeper comment, you can call that same number, 347 649 7741, and you can leave your comment there. And I'm learning now to incorporate new conversation, new talk into old shows, shows that I've previously had recorded and rebroadcast. I'll take a pause. And in that pause, I can incorporate your comment. In that pause, if you're listening live, you can add your thoughts, your comments, your questions. Talk worth listening to. That word worth and my title is because we all have something to add to the pot of life. We all have something to add. Good, bad, or indifferent. It all depends on who's giving it and who's receiving it and where it may fit into their life. Even if the bad fits into their life, to understand something that has happened, right, that they couldn't understand, but now your sharing of something could be a bad experience, something that just turned out not the way you wanted it to, may help them to understand that situation for either they were involved with or that they heard. Does that make sense? Because we're all in it together. We're all in this thing together. So again, it's a beautiful life that we live when we take a deep breath. Sometimes when we are silent, and in that silence, you hear what you need to hear. You hear the answers, to the questions you may have been asking to others or to yourself, or in prayer, meditation, or chant. Silence can sometimes bring forth the answer. I am, again, extremely excited about the future. Every day is a new day, every minute, every second. And so I embrace life to its fullest. I recognize opportunity. And so here was part of the conversation yesterday. So, hi, I'm Evadyne, and I have antennas. I don't know if I mentioned this today, but I have antennas that go so far up, I think the spaceships are like, what's that thing right there? We didn't see that before, because maybe they weren't touched. But my antennas allows me to get information to receive, because I receive it, but also information to share. And so the conversation yesterday at table number 1 was speaking about travel. They were talking about their cruises that they booked and where they're going next and everything like that. So I turned and I said, is there a travel agent in the Taylor family? And they were like, no. I said, well, then you should go to my website, NetworkingForSuccess.info, and you should click on the travel sales, and you should become a travel agent. Because all that they were talking about, and I've watched them on social media, the family, their boat ride, well, not boat rides, the cruises, and here, there, different destinations. I thought for a fact that someone in the family was arranging this, and it's good to arrange it just for fun, but it's better to arrange it for a commission, because the carriers are getting paid and they have a budget to pay out to others. So I shared that information. And then there was another conversation close to it about timeshares. Oh, here I go again. I mean, not I come into this conversation. And I shared with them, like I shared with others, as a former timeshare sales rep, I would even tell my customers who were sitting with me, if you like what you see, I have to offer it to you for $35,000. If you really like what you see, wait until the 4th person comes over. And all along the way, we like it, but we just can't afford it. We like it, but whenever you give your reason, the but. They don't want you to walk out the door without a sale. You will be able to get this for under $5,000. And they will tell you it's alternative weeks, it's going to limit your amount of people you can bring with you. That's all well and good. Don't even think about it. Because my point, 2 points. One, you purchase a timeshare close to home, within 2 hours, 3 hours max, close to home. Why? Because you have access to your home resort 365 days out of the year. Meaning, you and your friends could plan to go to your resort and spend the day. Now, granted, if you have horseback riding, skiing, golf, tennis, swimming in your backyard, then you don't need that. But if you don't, and you like those things, just sitting out under the sun, under the trees, relaxing, sometimes shows, if you like those things and you don't have them in your backyard or even next door, right? These are some of the amenities that are offered at your home resort. So you and your friends get in your car, their car, somebody's car, and drive to your resort and spend the day. Just like we go to work and spend a whole day. Go to your resort and spend the day. If you cannot get accommodations just for one night, which is okay, you might be able to get into a hotel or a nice motel in the area if you feel like you want to go and spend 2 days up there. Maybe another set of friends is going to come and join you. at your home resort, right? I consider it to be a country club membership with vacation privileges. That's how I would sell the timeshare concept, and even today. I'm not selling them, but I tell people all the time, because people travel. If you get an opportunity to sit down with them, sit down with them. Go ahead. If they're offering you free tickets to the amusement parks or dinner, whatever it is, and you have time to fit all of that in, go do it. But don't buy more than 3 hours from your home. If what I am saying makes sense to you. And yes, they say you can use different resorts all over the world through the exchange program, and you can. That's why there's no need for you to spend. Now it's probably about 40,000. This was back in the 90s when I used to sell them. So I'm going to say it's probably about 40, maybe even more, because some of them are deeded. Some of the contracts are deeded property, and some of the contracts are contractual. But either way, I think I've shared the idea of why spend more than you have to get the advantages that we. But closer to home is the better way of it. That is my professional. I have a professional opinion about timeshares. And yes, you do have an annual maintenance fee. You may not be used to that if you're renters of apartments, but if you are a homeowner and you've owned your home for more than 6 months, every year your taxes go up. It doesn't make you say, oh, you know what? I don't want to live in this house anymore because my taxes go up every year. The water bill goes up every year. The electric bill. You wash your hands of something because it's increasing. So when you listen to those um, commercials on the radio, maybe on the television as well, get out of your timeshares or waste some money. You never know how much you're going to be paying. Keep in mind, nobody wants something that has no value. We promise if we don't get you out of your timeshare contract, XYZ is going to happen. Know that no one is going to want something from you that doesn't have value. So what you want to do is be mindful. And this is about life, time, commitment to living happier and healthier. Because I truly believe that we were born to vacation. When I look at pictures of Adam, that Garden of Evadyne, that was life, or at least the idea of what life should be like. So I believe we were born to vacation. We just have to find that way of fitting it in. And the sooner you do that, the happier you will be. But again, moving into understanding that life, your life, our lives are so important. And living our purpose and our passion is critical. Not only for you. If you are a parent or guardian in charge of the upbringing of a young person, it is really important to recognize the importance of passion and purpose. You may have a small child who you keep directing them to the sandbox, but they keep climbing the fence. Well, they may be mountain climbers in their spirit. They may not want to sit down and play in the sand. I believe as adults, we, when it comes to children, should be exposing them to everything that we can so that choices can be made, but also to recognize and observe them and what they gravitate to. They may not be able to express themselves, some can, but all may not be able to express themselves to say, hey, this is what I like, or this is what I don't like, or this. know, but naturally, they will gravitate and move toward what is good for them and what is right for them. And I know we have responsibilities. We have to go to work, we have to nurture, we have to cook, we have to shop, we have so much to do. And if we have more than one, we have so much to do. But be patient in the process of parenting. That is our responsibility. We did not ask to arrive, and I'm speaking like we're the children, because we once were, but be patient in the process of children. Be patient and be respectful, but be patient. And that patience will help you as well. When you don't react quickly and you think about how to respond and how to react, then you'll respond differently. I say take a deep breath before responding, because once you say it, it's already said. But I am Evadyne. This is Evadyne, the company Talk Worth Listening To. And I will now open up the floor. Where is she? She's here. So, we talk about things like male, female. But I just want to read. I sent it out to a couple of people, an acrostic poem that I did for Mother. I'll just read that, but then I'm going to open the floor, and we're just having a conversation, a talk today about a company Talk Worth Listening To, and just talking about life and living a fulfilled life. And so after I read this acrostic poem, which is not going to be very long, I'll just open up the floor so you can express your express your thoughts on living life to its fullest, passion, purpose. Um, yeah. So here's the acrostic poem. The word is mother. M, a mantle for which many will be covered. O, outstanding when others see your vision. T, telepathic, knowing what you need without you saying and providing through direction. H, her presence never leaves you. E, every breath is because of her. R, reversing pain and replacing it with love, kindness, and understanding to always be remembered. Thank you. The floor is now open to anyone who would like to speak.
Hello?
Hi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing well. No complaints. So the floor is open. Is there a specific? Well, I guess the topic is what was it? Something for women or something regarding women?
The topic is life, purpose, passion. Anything that you see fit to express unexplicitly. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, Rodney. I heard like every other word you said. Could you repeat the top again? I heard something, then life, then.
Sure. 1 second. Marcus, did you hear me clearly?
I think I did.
So share it with her, please.
Please.
So the topic, from what I heard, is about life experiences, things that may have contributed to your life experience, or maybe some outlooks you have regarding life.
Okay.
Passion and purpose and the power of those two things helps. Thank you. So, Marcus, you were going.
Marcus.
Well, just to share a little bit, I want to say that, first of all, I want to acknowledge that we had a recognition of mothers and grandmothers and women in general, and that's a very good thing. And I hope that everybody who's on this line, got their flowers, yesterday and even some today. And I also want to switch up and just say that I look at, for example, a day like Mother's Day as a day to reflect from previous year to now for me. And I made a statement, I know last year, regarding how men and women relate to each other. We have a bunch of different opinions, but that's okay. But it's always been my opinion that we're both equally important to one another. That's true in my book, very true. It is a fact. And also, we complement each other. So I don't claim one to be better or more important or even more capable than the other. I would say that in my life journey and from my perspective, we complement each other, we need each other, and we should be of utmost paramount to one another. Like I said, I don't think one is better than the other, but I do believe that we have our abilities. And there are some things that each of us can do that the other just simply can't physically. And that's a given. But it doesn't create a class or a caste system in my belief. They say there's a patriarchy and there also is a matriarchy. And they're both equally important. And they both have their purpose, their function, and the result that they want to achieve, the end goal. So I would love to just say that to all mothers and to all women in general, thank you for being on this planet. A lot of things would not happen without you all, especially with our species continuing on, and also being able to bring some type of order back to where there is chaos, because women do have the ability to take a situation that is hyperactive and very aggressive and almost to the point of eruption and calm it down like nobody else can. So that's my 2 cents just on that aspect of things. And once again, I just wanted to acknowledge the women and also acknowledge all of us as being complements to each other, needing one another, and treating each other as importantly as we should be to each other.
Thank you very much for that. And as you do have a show on this network, would you like to share?
Yes. Every third Friday of the month on the Grown Folk Talking Network, Fridays at 6 p.m., Can We Talk with Adrian is the podcast that my podcast comes on the third Friday, and that's the Paradigm Shift, and that's from 6 p.m. until about 7:30 p.m. That's every third Friday, on the Grown Folks Talking Network, where you can dial in 520-525-8633 to hear a lineup of the shows and to hear all of the different podcasts that are on the network. And mine is there every third Friday on Can We Talk with Adrian's time slot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I appreciate that. And yes, I had many flowers yesterday. As a matter of fact, my niece gave me a beautiful, 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 beautiful red rose. And she's such a quiet Capricorn, but I really appreciated it. And the day before, I attended the Strength of a Woman Summit hosted by Mary J. Blige. And afterwards, I came home with these beautiful purple flower arrangements. And when I tell you that red rose day was placed perfectly within that purple arrangement, and it's just a perfect fit. Perfect fit. So I'm grateful for her. She's a quiet one, but she spoke very loudly, spiritually to me with that rose. It topped everything off. So thank you. And again, we had a very beautiful day yesterday with the ST. Okay, I'm going alphabetically. With the Smith Taylor family. Smith Taylor and Waters. Just bringing together friends and family for a great dining experience at 1111. This gentleman, if you ever, hold on, Sky said call me, right? Call me if you need an intimate event space with food to live for. I know people say something to die for. No, I'm not going to mention that. With food to live for, please call me and I will connect you to K-Mel. Absolutely delectable. We didn't have this, but I say he can turn franks and beans into a delicacy. So everything from there would be perfect. But do call 347-457-2769. And now we're going to hear from Adrian. As Marcus mentioned, he is her third Friday co-host with his show. Adrian, are you ready?
I guess I am.
Thank you.
Well, you want to hear about my Mother's Day? Because, well, I'm not going to talk about my Mother's Day. Mother's Day is always a wonderful day for me. When my mother was alive and now, and I love the concept of celebrating matriarchy, celebrating family in any way, shape, or form, because family has always meant a lot to me. So I had a wonderful Mother's Day. No. Jesus. I'm going to have to cut this short. Can I continue in a few minutes because this is an important call? Take that as a yes.
That is a yes. I will mute you. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself.
All done. Okay, so this is Evadyne with Company Talk Worth Listening to. And we're just opening up the floor for anyone who would like to speak about life, passion, purpose, the importance of living it. If there's anything else you'd like to share, because once again, we are literally in this world together. I know that's a song, but I'm just saying, yes, we are in this world together, and how we touch each other and when. I mean, just as simple as that red rose fitting so perfectly in that purple arrangement, we have no idea how spiritually we are connected to doing and being and growing. But we know that we are. We know that we are. So if anyone else would like to speak, The floor is open. Okay.
Well, if
Go
not,
ahead. Go ahead, Marcus.
okay. I was just going to say that I just wanted to add something else. Something I adopted to myself just not even long ago, but it was just an attitude with respect to how I deal with life and with the things that come, the situations, the tests, the trials, the kind of days and the, stellar days, the phenomenal days, the high vibrational days. So what I do is I enjoy both experiences on both sides. So good, not so good. I know that there's a purpose for all and there's a balance. Before I started to acknowledge the balance, I would really get flustered and upset because things weren't going my way. But I soon learned that after a few times of being in those kind of situations that got me reacting in that manner and that attitude, I had to change it if I wanted to be able to move past that, because I know that every level is another level up. And until I can step up another level, I'm going to keep going through what I'm going through at the same level. So I began to just look at things in life as, things that are there to test us, but also show us where we are. And then we can come to the conclusion of how we need to get to where we need to be. But it's worked for me. Every day is not stellar, but every day is not, sideways. And I'm grateful for that, for the balance, because now it really shows a lot that, there is balance in everything. Even in what we would like to call tragedy or trials, there's still balance and there's still something in there that's a benefit to us when we move forward and we move upward and onward. So that's just been, something that I've been hanging on to, clinging to, if you will, holding on to as I move forward in life. And hopefully that'll be something good for someone else, or something encouraging for someone else as well. And with that, I'll yield. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And the one thing I didn't hear you say, which is something that we must recognize, I did not hear you say that you learned this in school. There are people who feel that the learning starts and stops in school, and that's not correct. In the dedication of my books, I say I attend the University of the Universe, tuition free, so it fits into my budget, open 365, 24/7 Earth time. That's where I happen to be walking right now. And every day is a learning experience. The day we stop learning, for real, we have stopped living. In my opinion, in my opinion, because, some people don't realize they're learning, but if they take that silent moment and reflect on just simply what they knew a year ago and what they've learned since then they will realize they're still learning. So thank you, Marcus, for that.
And I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank
you.
1 minute, please. And then you have people who feel like, and this is a great lesson for anyone who's listening. And again, I'll say this. If you're listening live, thank you. If you're listening on my YouTube, which is like, share, subscribe, ring.com, leave your comments. Absolutely, leave your comments. But there are some people who feel that once you reach a certain age, you don't make new friends. And that's part of what affects negatively intimate relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever the case may be, because if someone feels like you're growing and you're living and your experiences stop once you're engaged or committed in a relationship, that's not good. I'm not going to say it's a problem because if everybody agrees, then it's not a problem. I'm just saying it's not good. Unless you're living as a hermit with each other, then no, you're not going to meet anyone. Your exposure is going to be very limited. Just as going out, even to the I have met people, I might be a little different, but I have met people in the supermarket who I'm now still acquainted with because, oddly enough, I could be in a supermarket for like a half an hour with nothing in my cart and still talking to the same person. I don't just walk in and say, hey, talk to me, but something in the universe connects us for whatever the reason. It connects us. And you could be on the bus. You could be engaged with coworkers. You never know when the universe is connecting you. And I had a conversation with someone the other day also where they were talking about not even a relationship. They met a person. About within a week, they were in bed, and they're asking me about boundaries. Like, you tore those daggone boundaries down.
Right, there were no boundaries.
You tore those boundaries down in the first week. And he's saying to me, he says, well, she's too clingy. You were in bed within 7 days. You have clung, not cling. You have clung. Like, what makes anyone believe that you're going to share that type of situation? I mean, unless you're for hire, then in the end of this conversation, I told him he probably needs to be a for hire guy. But what makes you feel that something about you two attracted, and within a week you went deeper into your attraction? Into your attraction with the intimacy. How do you feel you're going to back off of that without more conversation and at least something, because this woman told him from the beginning she's looking for marriage. And he told her he's not interested in being married again. I said, so why were you in bed with her, man? Like, because even as adults, and so we have, again, be patient with children who we say, don't do this, it's not the greatest thing for you, or don't be with this. We're giving children guidance, but then we turn around and do some nonsense like this, right? Because neither one is listening to the other, or they're listening but feeling like, well, they're not going to change my mind. He's not going to change her mind about wanting to get married, and he's not going to change his mind about not wanting to get married. But I told him, I met him last year, and I shared with him then, there's a little something about you. He says, well, ask me. He has this statement, ask me anything you want, I'll tell you. I said, but there's a little something about you. Tell him I can't quite put my index finger on it, but there's a little something about you. He's real easy. He's an Aquarian, right? So he's real easy, real laid back. He'll, like a Capricorn, he'll fall into the fold, I call Capricorns tofu. I say you can take a cup of peanut butter and 2 cups of tofu, and you'll end up with 3 cups of peanut butter because tofu takes on the taste of whatever you mix it with. So he's kind of Capricornish in a way, but he's just real easy easy, laid back, you know. But I said, you want people to come for you so you don't have to say you came for them, or they can't say you came for them. So with this woman wanting to get married, you say no. I told him that's not true. Now, it's so funny because we were together the whole day. This conversation didn't come up until the last 2 hours of our dinner, where he wanted to talk about relationships. And that's because I told him I did the podcast on sex, and then I also have the podcast on how to have a happy relationship and how to have a happy divorce. And all three of them are on my YouTube if you're listening. So he wanted to know how I felt about that. You don't have a boundary in it. I said, but do me a favor. See, I'm really open. I gave you all a 24-hour number, right? I said, call me at 2 in the morning when she's at your door because she gained access to your building. Just call me. I don't mind you waking me up because I know she's coming. She's coming because you have laid into her something that she wants on top of her direction of wanting to get married. But we have to be mindful of what we say and what we do, and those two things should always add up. Does that make sense? That was a question. But go ahead, Adrian. It's your turn to complete.
Okay. I don't remember what I was talking about before, but you took my mind in a totally different place when you said, describe this gentleman as Capricornish. I don't know if I was insulted or should say, why, thank you. Because, that's not the kind of decision I would, as a Capricorn, make. Because, my experience with people telling me how Capricorns are, you guys think too much. You always got to work things out. Can't you just do something sometime? No. I got to sit back and assess the situation and determine where I want to go with it, what I want to do with it, and what it's going to look like, what I'd like it to look like at the end. But anyway, what was I talking about before?
So you were speaking about mothers.
Mother, yes.
And I think you were about to speak about your mom, I believe.
Yes, I was very close to my mother. We were like best friends because I was very sickly from birth up until the time until I moved out of New York, and because I was told that living in that atmosphere was keeping me sickly. So it was always me and my mom because she was very protective of me, and I was kind of protective of her because there were a lot of things going on in the household that I felt, I always need to protect my mother from. But it was, we had a good relationship, and I miss her dearly, and I still talk to her, and we have conversation, and we still get along. We still love each other. My mother had 8 kids, and she had the ability to give us each what we needed. She had the insight of knowing who we were and give us each what we needed in life. Like I always loved the arts. And I remember my mother and sometimes she would take a friend, and we would go to the Brooklyn Academy of Music to see plays and operas. And we even went to a play in Manhattan once, and that's because she knew my love was acting. I didn't want to be an actor. I always want to put something together and have people, look, I wrote this poem. Would you go read this poem and stand up and read the poem? I was always that one. And she nurtured that. She nurtured that. She nurtured me in my feelings, being sick all the time, because that is a hardship on a child. Like, everybody's outside playing in the sun, and Adrian, you got to stay out the sun. You can't go out there. But A, B, C, and D can come in here, and I'll set up a room for y'all to have, play games and stuff and have fun. So my mother was an intuitive person. She didn't have to ask us what we like, what we want, but she knew her children, and she knew her family, and she knew my father. And even though he didn't know it, she had her own way of controlling him. But so my mother was my shero from the beginning, and she still is, even though she's been gone almost 13 years. But like I said, we still connect and we still communicate. And I still love her dearly as if she was standing right here in front of me. So mothers and mother figures, because I was blessed enough to have a grandmother active in my life and a godmother active in my life. So I think that was my blessing. That's what made me the roundabout person that I am. And I compliment myself on not being stuck in one area. Some people, it's something that, I just don't believe in that. You don't have to believe in it to accept it. That's not saying, like somebody, I'm very open, I'm very giving, and I'm very accepting. One of my relatives came to me one day and said, okay, you're going to know who she is when I say Auntie. She said, Auntie, I didn't tell anybody, but, I'm gay. And I said, I knew that. You've been like that since high school. How did you know? I said, I know, because I know you, And I said, and don't stop me from loving you or anything. She said, but I didn't tell my mother. I said, newsflash, everybody in the family but you knew it, because, your thought process and things that you loved and your behaviors, it's just, it was in the back of everybody's mind. We have had that conversation as a family. And nobody told me. They just waited for me to come out and say something. Yeah, we were waiting for you to come out and say something. So thank you. I find it complimentary that you chose to call me and talk to me about this. But it's not a secret, so you can be yourself around everybody else. She said, okay. But that's how I'm going to say I am. That's how I made up because of my experiences. My best friend, and my mother didn't know this until I told her, my best friend growing up was a guy that lived up the block. We were in the same class all through elementary school. And I said, yeah, Brian's been gay as long as I've known him. Brian? How did you know this? Like, well, I said it was obvious to me, but I believe God given me this intuition where I can pick up on things that other people won't pick up on, usually because they're blocked by, I love this person, that's my baby, or whatever reason. So they don't want to admit to things that society might see as something negative or different, but if I admit to it, then I have to know that my child is different or that my child is not blending into society as he should. But it's not, to me, it's not about society. And to take your words, Evadyne, it's about the universe and where you're placed in the universe and how you're placed in the universe. And that's where your, for lack of a better word, blessings come from. If you recognize where you are, who you are, why you are, it really helps in understanding a lot of things that happen to us. So I believe I was put on this earth to teach and to lead and to educate. That's why and I'm glad my mother had that same spirituality, because she said when the doctors told her, I was a preemie. I was under 2 pounds when I was born. And the doctors told her I probably wouldn't live past a month old. And then after a month old, when I was still here, they said 3 months old, she's going to be a very sickly child. And my mother's words were, the devil is a liar. My child's going to live to be big and strong, and she's going to do many things. And I wish that I had an opportunity to go back to those doctors, which none of them are alive now, and Coney Island Hospital and say, look at me, I'm still here, Because how dare you tell a mother that her child's not going to live past a year old? You're a doctor, not God. But that's my feeling.
So would you like to tell us about your show, and also what else you do professionally. Thank you.
Okay. Can We Talk is a podcast about community, family, government, and some religion. I don't talk about religion a whole lot because that's not my forte. But when people want to bring it up, we'll talk about it. And we talk about anything going on with family, community, people, and government, and anything that falls under those categories. And like Marcus mentioned, on the third Friday, I let him do his thing on the show, and that just brings a different point of view to the show, and I love having that on my show. What I do otherwise, I write and direct plays. I've been doing this for 22 years. In the community, at first it was only in the church, and then I stretched out to the community, and I started doing plays, and I was living in Florida, so I had the backing of Disney because somebody told Disney what I did, and one of the ladies from the Walt Disney Theater Company called me, and we had a talk, and we shared in ideas, and she was a big support. She said, if you ever need anything, let me know. And so I said, I would love to have somebody videotape. So all of my videos that I have in storage now of my plays that I've done in Florida was videotaped by one of Walt Disney's characters, camera people. So I was grateful for that. But unfortunately, I don't have a camera person here. I've been looking for it. If anybody's listening and they're a camera person would like to help me out, in videotaping my plays here, I would really appreciate it. But that's what I do, and that's who I am. I'm a community person. I'm a missionary. I love to help people in the community in any way I can. Of course, I'm currently totally blind, so I can't do as much physically as I like to, but I can monitor and I can talk to people. I've been a crisis counselor for 20 years while I'm in Florida, and I still consider myself a crisis counselor. So people still call me, mostly from Florida, because they need help or they're in crisis of somehow. But that's where my heart is. It's helping people get over humps, whether it's emotional, whether it's legal, whether it's family, humps. People get stuck sometimes, and sometimes they just need somebody to talk to. I learned in being in this field for so long, I can't tell people what to do. Most of the time, people, I'm going to say 80% of the time, people just want somebody to hear them. Because if I come to a family member and say, this is my problem, they'll say, let me fix it. No, I don't want you to fix it. I just needed to get it out of my system, because sometimes when you just talk about it, you come to your own conclusions. Hey, you know what? I can do A, B, and C. But you knew that. But sometimes until you talk it out loud, you don't hear it. So that's just my understanding of people.
Thank you. And so I was imagining someone was listening to this and said, oh, I might be able to help her with that. But she just said, call me. She never gave contact information, or she never told me who she is. So tell us where you are, Adrienne, and give a contact number or email where people can contact you.
Where I am currently living in East Orange, New Jersey, which is part of Central New Jersey. And I'm going to give an email if anybody wants to make contact with me. And my email is acant43@gmail.com. And my ministry is called Divine Messengers, because the whole concept behind it, when I first started out, was to put a message out to people. And sometimes you can do a play or a skit, and 5 different people will get 5 different messages. It's okay with me as long as they get a message. And most of the time the message is to do something.
That's right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So today, you're welcome, huh? Today here on Evadyne with Company Talk worth listening to, we're talking about life, as I usually do, and passion and purpose. And I'm going to host a show specifically titled Living in Your Passion and or Purpose. I do feel that when you are living in your purpose, when you are, and you don't have to necessarily be paid for it. It may not be your job, but as long as after work, you need to sometimes make that money to cover all the things you need to cover. But after work, you should be living in your passion. You should be doing what is good for you, what purposefully is going to help to elevate you, because we're not here by ourselves. As each one of us are elevated, we are elevating others, whether we feel it or not. I was going into the store the other day, and I mentioned this yesterday. I was going into the store, and there was a lady standing there, so courteous and nicely. We said hello, good afternoon. And she said to me, stay in your anointing. So I said, thank you. She says, I'm telling you, I was just told to tell you that. Stay in your anointing. I thought it was pretty beautiful, and I love when people recognize what they see in me, whether we have engaged a short time or a long time, because I also know that we mirror each other. When I compliment you, it is on something that you're doing or something that you're saying or maybe even the way you look. But it shows my character, the fact that I can compliment you. I see it. So I am it as well. We're not wearing the same things. Boy, that happened once. I'm on a train, a lady has on the same skirt once in my entire lifetime in high school. That was weird. But it's that we are, in my opinion, I haven't stripped myself down, but I strongly believe we are electrical beings with flesh and features. And so that electricity, and this is what I shared with that gentleman also who have boundary issues. When you meet someone and you're attracted to them, we as humans, and it could be same sex, opposite sex, however it goes, we are not taught the true essence of our being. And so we tend to think it is supposed to be a romantic, I'm thinking weak, but we sometimes believe it's an intimate connection. And when you lead and go in that direction, you may be missing the real point of why the universe connected you. Even with this gentleman, the little bit he told me about this lady, I know professionally he is positioned to help her. I don't even know her whole story, but I believe it is his profession that they were connected for, not to be in bed. But they may never know now that they've crossed that line and he's now trying to distance himself from her. But when you meet someone that you're attracted to, just for the record, I always say, because if you meet them in person, so you're attracted to something, whether it's the physical or the attitude or the hairstyle or the cologne, because that PS Fine cologne is a drop-dead woman getter. That PS Fine cologne is dangerous, just like Red Door on women. Those are two very dangerous colognes in my book. So anyway, but when you meet someone and you find that you're attracted to them, if you exchange numbers, perfect. I say speak to them on the phone at least 8 hours before you see them again. And not 8 hours like one day, but speak to them on the phone getting to know who they are. Because in that speaking, it shouldn't be about when we're going to go to dinner, when are we going to go to dinner, when are we going to go to dinner. No. You should be talking about a lot of things. What's in the news, what's not in the news, what's on Netflix, like Leave the World Behind. That's a plug-in. Please watch that movie, Leave the World Behind. But, and watch it intently. Watch it for the messages that are in it. And also watch Residency on Netflix. Very, very, very deep series on hospital interactions in medicine. I've learned most of my medicine through television, and it's been very accurate because of the way I pay attention and the way I see things. So accurate that my mom's doctors used to ask her, where did I study medicine? Because we would share things, and they would have to go and research, and then they would come back and confirm it with her. I can't tell them TV, Marcus Welby and Quincy and all those other folks, but watch with intent when you're watching movies and television. Watch with intent. Because I don't know if you all know, but the Creator sends messages through people. Hold on, I should have told you to sit down first for that. Right? The Creator sends messages through people. It's up to you whether or not you catch the message. Believe me when I tell you. I wouldn't tell you anything else. So we must pay attention to our encounters. Something else you said, Adrienne, and I appreciated that on the strength of how your mom identified each of her children, because we all need something different. And it just reminded me of my acrostic poem where I say, Mother knows what you need without you saying and provides you through direction what you need. We're telepathic, just a little bit, you know. You think it, we feel it. But and that's not just women, gentlemen. That's not just women. As humans, when you learn to pay attention to not what you see, but what you feel, you will be living optimally. You will be living more fully. Because we know people say a lot of things, so it can't be just what you hear. There's a lot of hearing out there, but not all of it is valuable. And Adrienne, again, when you were speaking about people who just need that listening ear, in my books, I recommend that people get therapists when they are at their best. When they are at their best. Because that person kind of becomes your friend. They know you at your best. Just in case life ever throws you a curveball, you have someone who knows you to get you back to home base. Otherwise, if life throws you a curveball, you'll be assigned to a resident in the psychiatry with an attending in the other office down the hall with a couple of books and manuals. And because you shook on your left side, they'll say, well, this is what they have. And then you'll have a medication that you don't need because they don't know you. They're just looking at how you are presenting to them, your symptoms. So you want, not only do you want that, but I don't know how many of you know this. In your phone, you should have a number under ICE, ICE, and that it's supposed to stand for in case of emergency. You want that person and a few other people to know your business. We want to keep everything to ourselves. I want everybody to know my business. Yeah, all right. You'd be surprised how many people go all the way down because they didn't tell anyone their quote-unquote business. You did not create anything new. Nothing. Well, no, I don't mean that. I'm just saying, there's nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
So you want a healthcare proxy if you're over 18 and you're not married. In writing, you want to identify and list 2 healthcare proxies, just in case the other one is with you if something should happen. And you want them to know your BIBI business because you want them to be able to make decisions for you if you are unable to make these decisions medically. So they need to know who your friendly therapist is. You all should meet them together as a group, as a family. You can meet them as family, friends, come together as a group, but you can still have your private sessions. You want that person to know you friendly and to know you when you're well. And be able to talk to a friend or 2 about the things that are going on in your life, as Adrienne mentioned. No judgment. I remember it was July. I don't really go into people's homes too much. When would I possibly have time? But I met this lady in the supermarket. I think we met in Fairway or Whole Foods. And we talked. I mentioned that, right? Yeah, I did. We talked a very long time. But she and her girlfriends were getting together at her house, and I agreed to attend. We were sitting and talking, and one of them mentioned Dr. Zhang, who was a excellent Chinese doctor down near Canal Street on Broadway near Canal. They mentioned Dr. Zhang and what he cured them of. Well, do you know, out of the 8 women in that room, 5 of them were seeing Dr. Zhang, and none of them knew it? I just sat back. At the time I was drinking soda, so I sat back with my soda, and I just said, look at this. How are you all friends, cousins, sister friends, and you're seeing this Chinese doctor who's curing you, and none of you knew it? And so once I found out about Dr. Zhang, I went to go see him too, right? Dr. Zhang was wonderful. My first visit with Dr. Zhang, the lady standing outside said she started seeing him after he cured her sister of leukemia, her sister-in-law of leukemia. She said she knew then that he was the man for her. He was the, whether you are with a disorder in the body or not, it's good to see people who are good at it. Now, I cannot tell you where Dr. Zhang is now. He was in this office where you walk up in 381 Broadway, where you walk up this long flight of stairs, right? For years he was there. He was $35 a visit, not a copay. $35 a visit. You were treated, and you left there with the teas he wanted you to drink. Something happened. He had to move down the block to this elevated, secured building. You had to put in a code, and they had to let you in. And within a year, Dr. Zhang was gone. All over the internet. What happened to Dr. Zhang? Where's Dr. Zhang? So a very unsecure building, he did well for decades. A secured building, he disappeared.
He just
Don't know
disappeared.
what happened to him. But the one thing I know, he had 2 people who worked with him. Sherry, his daughter-in-law, and the old man. Even if something happened to him, they were there to continue his work. Nobody was there. But be mindful that we have to share information about ourselves and information that we receive that's useful. Even if only one of them went to see Dr. Zhang and came back and told the other ones, I would have been okay. But 5 of them in that room who'd known each other over 35 years, related, some sister friends, and none of you told, and they were all like, you see Dr. Zhang? I just looked. But, those are the lessons we get. That happened so I could come and share it with you, but trust me, it's not the first time I shared that. So we are on Grown Folk Talking. I am Evadyne. This is Evadyne with Company, Talk Worth Listening to. I want you to go to my website and visit my website. I should ask you to go now, but I'm not pushy. So my website is NetworkingForSuccess.info. You're going to find many different doors to walk into there. My books, Suicide is a serious killer. Let's end it today. And mind is to mental as teeth are to dental, and we all have a mind. You can get both digital copies for $5 under promo. You can get you can get your free personal travel and shopping portal under travel sales. But if you like traveling, you want to come into that travel business. I'm also a life and specified health insurance agent. And what I say about life insurance, it's not about death. Life insurance is about building wealth. That's how wealthy people become wealthy, not because somebody died, which can happen, it's a part of life, but because you get the policies that build cash value. It's almost like you're investing in the market without the headache of figuring what to invest in. You get the whole life policies, cash value builds up in it. Unless you have an increasing face value policy, then that cash value is going to go right back to the company when you pass. So before you let it go back to the company, you can pull out that cash value, you can pay off your debt. You're pulling it out in the form of a loan that, again, you never have to pay back, and it just come off your face value. But if you're planning to retire, you can pull it out, get rid of all of your debt, because retirement with no debt is like, man, that's what it's like. Because you want your money to be your free life. You work hard enough for it, whether you want to lay in the bed and play with it, or you want to travel with it, or you want to set up your younger people. This is what I share with people. There is a R&B music festival coming in December at the Kalahari Resort. The lineup is, I think it's Jeffrey Osborne, the Stylistics, Tavares. I don't think the Manhattans this year. I think the Toys are going to be there, which is an older group. Many of you don't know how to play with, ha ha ha. But it's a full lineup of great music concerts. 4 days of concerts. You can email me and I'll send you the flyer, or you can look it up. R&B Classic Music Festival. R&B Classic Music Festival at the Kalahari Resort. It's an absolute great time, and it brings back great memories. You're around great people. But I remembered that because we were in a financial workshop, and I'm seeing all of these retired individuals who have monthly income over $4,000 with monthly expenses about $1,200. So they have like, $2,800 to just play with, right? But they still have these annuities and these CDs and all of these other wonderful products that they invest through their work life. So I say to them, set up your young people. Set up your young people, your grandchildren, your children. If you don't have any, your friends' grandchildren. Because that money that's just sitting there, they're never going to use it. They still have so much fluid monthly money coming in. They're never going to use it themselves. So set them up so that they are not where some of us may be, just struggling and waiting to get to that end. Set them up. You can set them up with a life insurance policy. Just set them up with a single pay annuity. You put that money in there, and it's going to earn interest. And when they turn a beautiful age, they're going to have income too. Retired people, I'm a tax preparer. I have retired clients with over $100,000 in annual income because of how they invested their money while they were working. That's, but it is not common. It is not common. So look at your policies. Even today, if you happen to be struggling financially and you've been working a very long time and you have whole life policies on yourself or your children or your grandchildren, and you've had those policies for a while, contact that insurance company and see how much cash value loan you have money there that you could use to satisfy your current need. And I always say, who better to use the money that you put in if you, right? And some people think this is kind of morbid also, but I also suggest that you make your own funeral arrangements. and pay for them. One thing that's
Mhm.
definitely going to happen is that, I have friends who are funeral directors, but the emotional sales position is rough. If you pass and then your family has to go and I'm sorry, if I pass, some people think you're pointing fingers, but when someone passes away, transition, and their family has to go and make the arrangements, they are so emotional over the loss,
That's right. That's
and they
right.
want the absolute best for that family member. Let me be the one to tell you, just in case you didn't know, your family member is not going to feel that silk or that taffeta, that makeup, that your family member in that same life is not going to know. I mean, it's really for the public. For yourself and for the public. But when you take the time to arrange your own service, you're more practical. I mean, if you're not, you can do what you want to do, however you want to do it. But at least it won't be an emotional
Right.
contraction.
Can
It'll
I
be
can I say something about it?
yes.
I the last two, no, not the last two, but one a long time ago, and one I went to in the last 2 years. Um, I sat there and I said, I'm going to sit down and write out my funeral because those two people, one was my former pastor in Florida, and one was my cousin, and they wrote out their own funeral. I knew my former pastor was because she passed at 90, and she kept saying every few years, "Oh, so my best friend died, and I got to redo my funeral. Oh, this one died, and I got to redo my funeral." So I'm laughing because she said, "I got to stop living so these people could do my funeral." But she did her own funeral, wrote it up, what song's going to be sung, who was going to sing it, and blah, 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 what was going to be said, the eulogy that they had to send to the newspaper. And my cousin, just a few years back, did the same thing. She was diagnosed with um, cancer. I don't remember which one. But so she knew she was going down, and she sat down and wrote up her own funeral, who was going to do what and everything. She told me she was doing it because I told her about my pastor. She said, "I like that." So at the funeral, she had her best friend reading the obituary, and her best friend got up there and said, "And she knows me. I don't know why she put me in this position. She knows I'm just going to cry through the whole thing, but I'm going to do it because she wrote it down. It has to be done. She ain't going to come back and get me later. And so she did it, but it was beautiful, and like she said, she didn't want it to be a sad occasion. She wanted it to be a true celebration of her life. So her grandson sang, and several of her grandchildren did something. But I love that idea. So, and you're right. It wasn't any pressure on her family, on her kids or her husband to get it together because she did from soup to nuts. She planned her funeral, and just like my former pastor. So, I'm going to sit down and do it. I'm going to sit down
Very
with
good.
somebody and get it done.
Very good. It's funny. I did mine back in the 90s, and this is going to surprise many of you, but the way I wrote it out, I'm actually selling something. I'm selling something because everything I touch and share with you is valuable. So the last thing I could do, if you're listening at my service, is offer you the best things that I know would be good for you. So with that, I'm going to invite you, along with going to my website, NetworkingForSuccess.info. I haven't put this in my site yet. It is on some of my printed literature, but please go to Sisel, SISEL.net/EVADYNE96. This company has a lot of unique products. Just take a look at them. I don't push or shove anyone into anything, but I know the one thing we all want to do is live happily ever after. They told us about that. I don't know where it was supposed to come from unless we were actively engaged in it, but we all want to live happily ever after. After today, right? After today.
After today. Good.
There's, there are a lot of disorders that people have, and I say disorders, I've learned that word here, that can be reordered. You don't have to give up because the doctors say we could do nothing else for you. In my book, I say when the doctor says they can do nothing else for you, ask them, well, who else can? Like, who else can? And
Right.
more importantly, what were you doing all along? Like, first of all, with that thought, ask for those steps. When we get a diagnosis and then what they feel would be, the next steps of treatment, no, show me step A through Z. And I want to see how others have come through your step A through Z. Nothing else we could do for you. Step aside, Jack or Jackie. Step aside. But we get so involved in believing that professionals know what they're doing. And when I was a child, so a lot of my realizations came to me when I was a child. I knew the prenatal vitamins is what was causing the diagnosis for the children, and it's still today with different age groups, it's different diagnosis. It has to be a common denominator if they're not related, and I can only relate it to the prenatal vitamins that are distributed through different communities. But I knew this when I was like 11 or 12, and I spoke it out of my mouth. I also knew that 35 years to life on a job, when a person can commit manslaughter and do 7 to 15, and when we can keep our children in our homes from 18 to 20 and legally say, hey, your next birthday, you out. Not that you want to do that, but I'm just saying legally the system cannot hold you accountable for exiting your children out of your home once they reach a certain age. Why would you have to give more than 20 years to one company to be entitled to a pension when, again, someone can commit murder and do 7 to 15? And you can exit your children from your home at 21, no bars, no bars at all, no repercussions. And where are the children supposed to go when they do graduate high school? What jobs are they supposed to go into if you're not releasing their parents? So again, I'm working on a 20 and out retirement bill. I don't know where it's going to go, but a 20 and out retirement bill just from one company. Doesn't mean that if you work at one company, go to another and another and another. But when you have that kind of lifestyle, where you go from job to job to job, and you don't know you're going to want to do this, that's why I also recommend the whole life policies and the annuity policies, because as you are working, you can start building your own retirement. We don't have to leave it to the people who run away like Enron. I'm sorry, some of you may not even know about this. Too young. But anywho, we have to plan to be the best we can be, the most successful that we could be. And when we're planning it because of the knowledge we have to share that, not just to our generation, but to the younger people. Many cultures bring their children to the table at 5 years old. So by 12 years old, they're almost running the business. They know how to budget. They know how to do the things that are going to lead them to successful lives. They know how to cook. So. Right? There's some basics that have gone out of our learning system. When we were younger, we used to have home economics in junior high school. We learned to cook, to sew. We knew about fuses and woodwork. The basic life skills was home economics. So we can start putting those things in place just by sharing. You can work through community organizations if you have time and provide those classes, those workshops, or you can go to my favorite galactic sites. The internet is not worldwide. That www worldwide, no. People on the spaceships and people on Mars who are living and never to return to Earth, those people, they're all on the internet too. So it's not World Wide Web, it's really a galactic web system. I'm working on it. Anyway, that's what it is. So I'm going to open up the floor again because I've been rambling, I've been speaking, and I've let others speak. But I just want to open the floor. We're talking about passion, purpose, life. Anything, it's funny, we come across that one thing that, boy, I wish the whole world knew. Well, if you know that one thing, share it, that you wish the whole world knew. Speak it like the world is listening. You never know. The floor is open. Okay, it's still open, but I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't want to interrupt anyone. Again, so we're going to do a show on passion, living your passion, living your purpose. And if, again, you know anyone who's doing those two things, one or the other, please have them give me a call, direct line, 347-457-2769. 24/7 would be 347-649-7741. That's 24 hours, 7 days a week. Call into that line with your comments on any of the shows that you find on my YouTube. And again, my YouTube is like, share, subscribe, ring.com. Isn't that unique? But it's a constant reminder that when you go to anyone's YouTube, like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. You're already there. You know. Grown Folk Talking Express Yourself has a YouTube, Grown Folk Talking Express Yourself. They also have a website, grownfolktalkingexpressyourself.com. And you can call into 520-525-8633. Listen to the entire show lineup. And hey, this is life. We're living it. We're in it 100%. So I'll ask again, any comments, or if you're on and you have a show on this network and you like to announce it, you may do so now as well. Okay, it's back to me again. I like getting the mic. The mic keeps coming to me. You all don't really see it. Today was an absolute beautiful day. Today is 5/13, May 13th, which is a number that's very special to my family. So I'm not telling you to all gamble, but we gamble every day anyway, but don't go gamble. But 5/13 is a really special number. 135.
Yes, Evadyne.
Yes.
When you're, when you open the floor again, I wanted to comment. I was just on mute. But yeah, when you open the floor again.
The floor is open. You may go. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so as you're talking about life and living your purpose and planning ahead, I appreciate the information that you're sharing because I was recently exposed to that, not through school. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for it to come out sounding that way, but I was saying the source that I got it from was cool, COOL. So, no, not from school, but the universe does provide us with tutors, coaches, and mentors who I'm very thankful for, in all different ways and in all different, walks of life. But since you're talking about planning ahead, I wanted to say that I have found what you have just shared to be very useful and a different way of seeing ahead, afar off, if you will, instead of just pretty much settling for what we've been told is what it is and just accepting it. And I believe that we're ever evolving, we're always growing. We never stop growing mentally or even physically. It's true, we never stop growing. And I think the only time that we don't live out our purpose and our plan is when we throw in the towel and just accept being at a certain level in life and not wanting to move any further, or just feeling that it's too difficult or it won't work, or nothing you try is going to pan out. When people have that attitude, I believe that they're satisfied and maybe they just want to be where they are. However, life is a never-ending journey. We'll never know everything because there's always something new to know. But I believe as long as we're still moving forward and we're not stopping, that we're always evolving with life, with the universe. And I believe that more knowledge that we need that maybe we don't have now will be made available to us when the universe sees us as being ready to receive that so that we can effectively best use it. And thank you, and that's my comment.
Thank you. And you know the funny thing, when you said when the universe is ready for us to see it, when it feels that we're ready to handle it, I immediately envisioned another part of the world because where we are is what is presented to us and is what we see. But in another part of the world, heck, in another part of the country, other things could be happening that actually are, well, we know are more advanced than where we are in this part of the world. So when people talk about the world ending, I say, yep, 10 seconds ago for somebody, right? 10 seconds ago, someone left this world and the body they were.
Right.
The world is going to end in a certain kind of way, but not, I don't think, in the way that we're told. Not in the way that. So I thank you for that, Marcus. Anyone else have anything to add to the call, to the talk?
Hi, this is Robin Taylor. How are you?
Hi, Robin. How are you? Welcome.
Good. I just wanted to let you know I was on, and I'm enjoying your program. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on. We ate together, ladies and gentlemen. This was part of the Taylor family. We had a wonderful engagement.
Yes, it was a beautiful day.
It was a beautiful day, not to be forgotten. We will remind people constantly, Robin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I just wanted to let you know I was on.
I appreciate that. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No. One day when you invite me back, you wanted me to talk about, me being a professional boxing judge, so I'll get into that, when we do an interview.
Thank you very much. And congratulations again. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, we are, how do I say this? Well, I said it. We are electrical beings with flesh and features. And when people challenge me on that, I tell them, brush your hair and then hold the brush up. And you will see your hairs gravitating to the brush. They're like alive, right? Or put on a piece of clothing and you'll get shocked. Well, you're not plugged in directly to anything, right? So what would that shock come from? It's electricity. Even you could touch someone. It's like, oh. You might not want to touch them again, right? We are electrical beings, flesh and features. It's important we learn how to use our power, a powerful entity. Learn how to use our power. Adrienne, are you coming in on it?
Yeah, you have me here laughing because I thought about that. When we were younger, we were teenagers, we would do things just to pick at people, and because that was fun. And what you just mentioned, it brought back memories. What we used to do, my brother and I, we used to get on a carpet and rub our feet, on a carpet like we're cleaning off the bottom of our feet, and then touch one of our siblings, and it, ow! And that was fun to us, just to see how many times we can shock them before they have enough sense to get up and walk away from us. But that was our idea of fun. I just thought about that.
And it would be a science project if it was inside of a building. If it was an institution, it would be a science project that they would have you do that, or even rubbing your hands together like flowers.
Right.
She comes on sometimes on King David's show. As a matter of fact, at 8 p.m. you can come back for King David has a show. It's about living healthier, wealthier, and wise. And I always forget the name of his show. That is so funny. I know it's Belief System. Thank you very much, Brain. It is Belief System. He's a certified hypnotherapist, and a few other credentials behind him, but your mind is powerful. And that is one of the things, like, I'm just going to go back to the medicine people for a minute. The medicine people. When they tell you you have a disorder that sometimes takes people's lives, your mind can start dying long before your second opinion, technically, long before your second opinion. So it's very important that we know the power of our minds, the power of thought, and how it leads to action. People get diagnosed, go home and start packing up and packing it in and giving things away. Second opinions are powerful. And that's where Aflac comes in. This is not really a commercial, but Aflac is a very, very good insurance because one of the unfortunate most common disorders is cancer, and there's so many different types of cancer. And Aflac policies, their cancer policies, they start paying you from your initial diagnosis all the way through your last treatment. But what I share with people when I'm signing them up is that initial diagnosis, you file that claim, you get between $1,000 and $3,000 depending on which one you signed up for. If your insurance company in Southwest Bend, Indiana, Nebraska, Kentucky say you can't have a second opinion, they're not paying for it, they can't tell you can't have it. They can only say they're not paying for it. Then you have, okay, fine, give me your diagnosis, file your claim with Aflac, take that money.
What happened?
Hi, how are you all?
Hello. You're back. Welcome back.
I am back. So, what Adrian said was very important. And the one thing I was really talking about it, yeah, just hear me, but let me see if I can remember. No. I thought about Aflac because I'm going back to medicine in a minute. There are people who get diagnoses, ailments, and cancer, I'm going to say, being the most common thing. With the Aflac policy, cancer policy, you can get an initial diagnosis rider that can pay you between $1,000 and $3,000. If the insurance company in West Bubblegum says that you cannot get that, they're not paying for it, you will have that money to go and get a second opinion. And a second opinion could be as simple as a blood test. Did you know a second opinion could be as simple as a blood test? Because I'm sorry, if I have something, my blood should be showing it up. You don't have to go and sit and consult necessarily. You can go into labs, and there are physicians in labs that can write lab orders for you. We don't always have spare money, those who are living paycheck to paycheck, however it goes. But if you have a policy that can take care of that for you, go get your second opinion. Because so many times people are misdiagnosed with conditions, but then treatment starts. Now you have a condition because unfortunately treatments lead to side effects. Those side effects now get you transferred again to other departments to handle whatever that's natural. And so I was talking about Sisel, SISEL.com/EVADYNE96. Sisel has something called Evadyne, which is actually a CMOS. And we all know CMOS. You don't have to get it from Sisel. You don't. Just go there and look at their products, though. They have very good products. But sea moss, moringa, turmeric, very good for cancer treatment. Very good for detoxing your body. The mushroom family, if you don't want to eat a mushroom, they have the mushroom powders. The maitake, shiitake kills cancer cells and other things, build up your immune system. The chaga, the reishi. Do some investigation. I'm saying a whole lot right now, and this production will be up on my YouTube um, at 8 p.m. tonight. But look into what can keep you healthy and what can bring you back to health. Not necessarily medicine. As I mentioned, I used to always quote somewhere in all the books, it says, I have given you all that you need, and that's even before a laboratory was built. But now I learned this Genesis 1:28, 26, 29, all in that vicinity. Pay attention to your body. Don't run to the medicine cabinet. When something happens, if I start feeling a certain kind of way, I think about what I did that could have caused it. Not the blame game, but what did I do? What did I eat? What did I twist? Where did I walk? How fast did I move that could have caused this uncomfortableness, whatever it is? And usually I could take it back to it. You don't always realize it when you're doing it. Like I was walking on the streets of Brooklyn because I had to commute by train. So I had to walk from my house to the train station. Within that first week, I'm like, what the heck? I used to be a bus driver. And when I was a bus driver, I had a lot of back pain. Since I wasn't a bus driver anymore, I didn't have no back pain. People say I needed the benefits and I needed the pension, but I didn't need the crippleness. That was just my body. But here, I'm walking back and forth to the train, and I'm telling you, in the first week, I was like, what the heck is wrong with me? What did I do? So I thought back on what I had been doing, and I was walking on the sidewalk. The sidewalks are so cryptic, broken, bent, up, down. I said, okay, we won't be doing that no more. I started walking in the street against the traffic, near the curb, but walking in the street because the street, unfortunately, was smoother than our walkway, and it got better. I didn't take a pill. I didn't do any of that stuff. I had this little kind of accident thing where I sat on my hand. I was fixing my seat. I have like this thing that goes in my seat for my back because the seat dips down. And I went to adjust it once I got in my car. So I lifted myself up, my right hand, trying to adjust it. And because the floor mat was slipped, my foot slipped, and all 2 pounds of me came down on my arm. So my wrist bent. My forearm was like in between the armrest. It was crazy. It was crazy. What happened was the pressure caused my tendon. So because the way my hand was bent out, my tendon was exceeded the joint. It was outside of the joint. And I'm telling you, it hurt. Because every time I would move my wrist, it would press against the tendon. And so they wanted to give me pain management pills. They wanted to do surgery. I said, no, what I need you to do is an X-ray, an MRI, or something. Because I need to see what it looks like. I need to kind of get this thing under control. I appreciate them wanting to cut me and stick me. And no. That's not telling me what's wrong. Because I can't see it, my primary doctor told me exactly what it was. But he did give me the referral anyway because I wanted to visually see it. And that's what it was. The tendon was in between the joint. It was sticking out. So I did therapy, and I used turmeric, and I got this other ointment from Remedies. So Remedies Herb Shop on 4th Street near 2nd Place is a very good shop to buy your herbs and roots, and they have great knowledge. RemediesHerbShop.com. I'm telling you, I stood in that place, and I was just kind of spinning slowly around like Dorothy in Wizard of Oz, thinking to myself, What could I use as a resource for this place? And then I thought about the book, Back to Eden. It just like perfect popped in my, I was just quiet. I wasn't spinning because I would have got dizzy. But I was kind of like, use in this store because I don't mind you telling me what something is good for, but I like to kind of know a little more, the cross reference thing. But almost everything in Back to Eden, if you know that book, is in that store, Remedies Herb Shop. Also, let me mention to you again, kind of back to what Adrian was saying, I made a note then. Please go on YouTube and listen to Conversations with God. It is a book that is being read by the author. It is 8 hours, not the movie. I haven't seen the movie, but the book is literally being read. It's being narrated by the author, but it's fantastic. Conversations with God on YouTube. It is so perfect. It's so beautiful. It answers so many, no matter who you believe in and how you believe in it. It is a perfect production. Okay, the floor is open again. Anyone have anything to say? Okay, then it's me again. I'd like to thank you all for listening in. I am Evadyne. This is Evadyne with Company. Talk worth listening to. Please, once again, visit my YouTube, like. So the YouTube address, the web address for my YouTube is like, share, subscribe, ring.com. Also, and then when you get there, like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell. Okay. And you can go to my website, NetworkingForSuccess.info, and please go to the promo and get the book. I mean, you get the book, you can send out the link to others. I have no fear of loss of income when it comes to that. I am humbled to have been given the task of sharing the information in those two books so that people could live happier and healthier and just get more guidance on life. I don't know if you all are familiar with it, but Dr. Oz published a book with one of his colleagues. I believe it was in the 90s, but it's called You. And it's the owner's manual for the human body. It's the only one I know of. Only one I know of. Dr. Oz has been involved in his journey to keep us wiser. I'm going to say wiser about our bodies and how our bodies operate. He's been on that journey long before Oprah brought him on the show. But the industry of medicine does not understand nutrition. And Dr. Oz is both a nutritionist and he's licensed in medicine. So he brings us both spectrums. And again, was doing it even before he came onto Oprah's show. Netflix has very good shows on it. Residency is great. It's a series. Leave the World Behind is an eye-opener. You might need to watch it twice, but it is about the possibilities of what can happen, and a host of other shows. So stick with Netflix. Be mindful of what you watch. Be mindful of what you watch, and that's on any of the apps that offer programs, even YouTube, even us. Be mindful of what you watch, what you listen to. But keep in mind that the Creator sends messages through people, whether it's through music, through a painting. You know how they say, art is in the eye, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so 14 people could be looking at the same piece of work and see something different. Well, it's all about who you are and what you need and how you are made up. It's how you'll see what you see. 7 a.m. every morning here, we have a prayer line. Tuesdays at 6 p.m., we have Grace Space with Jada. And at 7:30 p.m., we have the Pink Sofa Talk with Carol Lucille. Following my show on Mondays at 8 p.m., we have King David with Belief System. And I invite you again to call in to 520 525-8633. And on August 10th, the Grown Folk Talking Network is hosting a health fair in Newark, New Jersey. It's going to be an all-day event. If you are coming to be fed, you will get food for thought, food for your body, no meat involved, and there's be a lot of information and vendors. So come ready to support the vendors and to get a wealth of information. I'd like to thank you all. If no one else has anything else to say, I bid you, so let me pause. So if no one else has anything else to say, to add.
Yes, I'm sorry, this is Mike.
Here we come. Here we go. Go. Who's first?
I'm Michael. Oh, I just want to say, great show. I think people need to, like I always go down to the children. You got to teach your children how to plan, finance, like you said, insurance, and we need to teach our kids that. Play little games with them, like this. Okay, we're going to plan something for Saturday. What are we going to do now to make it accomplished on Saturday? I mean, you got to play games with them so they can kind of be aware of these things, and especially with finance. Today kids don't know the value of money. They're ready to spend $100 on a pair of sneakers, when they need to do something else. So I always tell people, teach your kids about financing and how to plan. That will be so important for the rest of their lives. And it's just so important because if they don't know those things, they're kind of lost and they're going to have a lot of problems. So I tell people, you got to teach your kids. I was never taught that when I was young, but I just realized if I was taught that, it will help a lot of things in my life today. And thank you.
And of course, Michael, you're welcome, but tell us about your show.
I have a show every first and third Thursday in the month at 5 p.m. It's called Your Community Health Club. And we talk about different things, health. And my main goal is to get people together to start their own health club so we can expand it and teach ourselves and learn from each other. Each one teach one. That's how we're going to learn. And please tune in if you can. 5 p.m. on Thursday, first and third Thursday of the month.
And tell us about your wheatgrass and how they can contact you.
For wheatgrass, you could contact me, Mike Mailbox 1, number 1 at yahoo.com. Wheatgrass is very powerful. It takes 1 minute to get in your blood of all the foods. Wheatgrasses take 1 minute, so a lot of people kind of realize it instantly. They got a little more energy, and they go to the doctor. The doctor says, your blood work has been good because it gets in your blood very fast. Like when you digest food, wheatgrass is a food. When you digest any kind of food, it has to go through the digestive system and maybe take 2-3 hours to get in your blood. So wheatgrass just takes 1 minute because it's pre-digested. And I just want to say, please join in. We have to start our own health club because that's how we're going to learn and we're going to teach each other. You may not have friends that you can do it with, but you could do it with the people who's listening, And I have a couple of people they're excited about it. They're going to start their own health club. I'm going to have challenges like let's not eat sugar for a week, just leave salt for a week, just drink more water for a week, and things like that. We can just all do it together. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And Adrian, you had something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, you said something that reminded me, and I'm like, why didn't I mention that? The 30th of May, our blind community group, which is called Beyond the Eyes, we're having our annual concert. And when I'm gonna say they because I don't sing, do the concert, I do the drama part, and we have one of the skits is called the balloon. Marcus, who you heard from earlier, is doing a monologue. I'm not going to pull his coat, but the balloon is, and what you said that reminded me of it. It talks about how everybody sees this one balloon, but they all see something different. The person walks up to see something totally different. So that's that concept that everybody can be looking at one thing and it means something different to everybody depending on what they're going through and their experiences in life. So May 30th at the Newark Library at 5 o'clock. I thought I'd turn that off.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We'll keep that in mind. Thank you. So this is Evadyne with EvadyneS Company. If there's nothing else from anyone else, I'd like to thank you for coming on and listening. Invite you to come back next Monday. And again, 347-649-7741. If you would like to comment on any of the shows, if you have a show idea, or if out of this time segment you have something that you would like to bring to the table, we can do that on another platform. And we're just growing. Thank you very much. And I wish you all a great every day.